I bet. Okay, can you hear me now? Freaking Windows 10 updates. Yeah, let me guess. It's probably because of this. Yeah. Windows 10 did an update yesterday when I got back. And of course, I should have guessed that it would nuke my microphone. So, thank you, Cache Override. Uh, because I probably wouldn't have noticed that for the entire stream. And then I would have had a 2 hour stream and I would have been sad. And it would have been a worthless video of me talking about how excited I was. So, okay, I will start over and say that Anime Central went well. It went really, really well. I had tons of people stop by the booth and play it. I had a lot of people, sit down, play it, come back later with a bunch of their friends, get huge crowds, and tell them to play it. I got a lot of pictures of that. I don't have them on this computer, sadly. It's all on my phone right now, so I can't really show anything. I'll probably post some of that in the Discord later. If I'm really, really feeling up to it, I will try to get a video update out about it, even if it's just something short. So yeah, overall, Anime Central went really well. I got 8 pages of notes from watching people play, and tonight we're going to be focusing on just addressing some of those notes because they're all a bunch of pretty small, pretty easy to implement things that I think will really help make the game feel a little bit better. So, well, thank you. Also, I guess since I was muted before, how are you doing tonight, Cache Override? And yeah, I also want to go ahead and give a shout out to all of the other game developers that were showing at ASEN because it was really cool sitting and chatting with them about their games and getting to play all of their games. Um, Except for Ian Sundstrom and his stacks on stacks on stacks, obviously. And nah, I'm kidding. He's a good guy, and I would not have been able to get in without his help and his game being awesome. So, so if you haven't checked out Stacks on Stacks on Stacks before, you should go check it out. Okay. Hello, Garrett. Welcome back. How you doing tonight? Doing well, Cash? Well, that's good. That's good. So, first thing I want to fix is this, not this particular issue, actually, although I do want to test this real quick. Okay, they must have been double tapping then. I had for some reason people were able to when they would type resume here with the R when they hit enter it seemed like it pulled up the input menu. It could be that the build still does that. I'll have to test that later. Anyway, so one of the things that I did notice is that it was not uncommon for people to open up the input menu and then do some stuff do a bunch of stuff to ourselves. Long enough that I can scroll ideally. Let's see. Self. I'm running out of things to do for self. Okay, one more. I think I've run out of the things that aren't the answer. How about... I'm curious. Interesting. Combining self with self doesn't do anything. And it doesn't cache that. That's curious. Either way, okay. So something I noticed people doing a lot is they would click in this area, and then they would try to type, and obviously you can see that nothing's happening here. So what should be happening is this stuff should automatically reselect the input field. I actually don't know why it doesn't, because that's a behavior that I set up a long time ago. It's possible that got blown away at some point, and I just didn't notice it. So let's go ahead and go to TQ menu. Oh, I'm sorry, not TQ menu. It'll be TQ game view, I think, or just view. Really? Well, you're no fun. Fine. Input view. Oh, it's because I called it text quest view. Of course I did. Well, either way. So yeah, while that's going on, I guess I'll talk about ASEN a little bit. And this is just going to be some random information about what happened while I was there. Obviously, gameplay experience was pretty nice. Getting to have a bunch of new people that I haven't seen the game before. I did have a guy actually from Indie PopCon that came by and talked with me, and he was super stoked to see it. And and we had a nice little conversation about some of the changes that I made and how exciting it was to be showing out in somewhere I hadn't been before. And it was also super great that he remembered it. But I had, let's see, I got rid of all of my shirts finally, so now I am officially out of TextQuest t-shirts. And I would order more, except I am financially drained right now, so sadly I can't spend like $200 on t-shirts to order 20 more. Um, let's see, so we're going to go to TextQuest view, go to definition. And what we're going to do is we're going to set up in update. If it's open, it should basically always select it. Actually, you know what? I guess I'll make this a bool. Ugh. I really don't like doing that, but go ahead and say public bool select input, and we'll set that to be true by default. Let's go ahead and tooltip that as well. Tooltip. Oh, I forgot. That's on the wrong screen now. Sorry about that. I moved it over to the left yesterday when I was doing some substance tests. Last night I actually started messing with 2018 in Substance, and I was checking out their editor workflow to make a drop-down parameter for selecting Substance keywords, and it actually worked out pretty well. I'm going to submit that to Algorithmic and see if they want to just use that in their base code. Makes it a lot easier to adjust substances. So we're going to say if true will force the input field to be selected when it is deselected. Selected. There we go. I guess actually, how about we just say to reselect? I think that's what we want. Actually, no, let's change this to force input focus. If true, we'll force the input field to be focused. So how do you spell focus? I can't spell focused. I'm like 90% sure. Okay, good. Yeah, Okay, so with that, we're going to come down here to update, and we're just going to say if force input focus and input dot, I think it's like is focused. Is that what we want? What are my choices here? Is focused. All right, we'll just do is focused. So and not that. Then we're going to say input dot select field. Okay. So that should force it to select. Let's go ahead and let that compile and give it a test. And the main reason I'm doing that is because most menus you're not going to ever need to deselect the input field. Like it should always be something that you can type into. And that's how it used to be. I'm guessing that I got rid of that when I kind of consolidated everything under the one root class. But who knows? There were actually quite a few bugs and oversights that I found in the demo build for this weekend that are just resulting from me putting in a bunch of features and not testing them properly. So a lot of outputs were messed up, and a lot of, what was it? I think names were messed up just because of a small, oh no, use was messed up because of a small oversight on my end, but those have been fixed since then. So, like always, after a convention, I get super concerned about player experience, and that's why I wanted to have the stream tonight mostly be about addressing notes that I took. Because a lot of these are about just kind of making it so that players have a slightly better time while playing. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and say, like, eat self. Just click off here. Nice, okay. And then we're just going to do that a bunch of times so that we can scroll. Ah, dang it. That wasn't cool. Just... Okay. Nice. And that's all I wanted, is just so that now this is always going to be selected, even if I'm dragging around here, which should be fine. Okay. So let's go ahead and close out of there. Let's do the same thing here. I'm going to click out here. Nice. So I can continue typing there. That was honestly one of the most frustrating user experiences from the weekend that I noticed, is that people would just click off, and that meant that they had to click back on here to do anything. And some people just wouldn't really do that. I did actually have someone this weekend. They got through this hallway to about here, and they tried to open the door, but they were slightly too far away, and they had clicked off, so they just couldn't do anything, and then they just got up and left because they were like, I don't know. So it was bad enough that it caused some people to leave. So that's fixed now, which is nice. Let's see, what other things can we do that are pretty quick? Input field should never deselect input field. That is now fixed. Maybe do raycast. No. So one of the things I was considering, because I noticed that several people did this, it's not uncommon for people to get to like right here and then try to type open door. If it's fine if they just start typing open, because if they hit E, you'll see that you get the not close enough message. But if they hit enter and then type open and then door, they kind of get a little. It's not unusual for them to get confused. And I was thinking about maybe adding a raycast feature where if you try to interact with something like this, it actually will do a raycast out to find objects that are too far away, and then it will store those, and then if you try to interact with them, it'll just say like you're too far away to interact with that. I'm not sure if I'm going to do that tonight, but that's something that I'm considering currently, because it's a small usability feature. But at the same time, I don't really want to do that because it could potentially cause problems in terms of puzzle design, because you could just walk into a room, look at something, and then do this and see if you could interact with it. And also it just increases the complexity of the parser, because now on top of objects that you are directly interacting with and your inventory and the global interaction objects, you now have a sort of weird fourth area that's kind of being interacted with, but not really. So let's see, what else can we do? Combat view doesn't need a cursor. Oh yeah, the wizard shake. Okay, so this is something that I was thinking. Let's go ahead and go to the wizard cutscene. Maybe make the interact state the cursor clearer? You mean the not close enough stuff? Or what do you mean? Because it switches to a crosshair when you're close enough to actually interact with something, as you can see there. And then if you try to interact with something by either clicking or hitting E, it'll give you that prompt, not close enough. And then if you're just straight up way too far away, you won't even get that. I think it's like 20 meters or something like that. It's a pretty sizable distance, and if it's beyond that, then it just doesn't do anything. And that's just so that you don't just spam click and then get an idea of what in the environment is actually interactable. Okay, so one of the things I would like to do here is at the end of the wizard cutscene here, we get a screen shake effect, and the way it works currently is it just goes for a set duration and then it will stop. But what probably should happen is that it should evaluate along a curve, I think. So you'll see the screen shake here. Like it just goes and then it stops. I think it would be better for it to go and then sort of taper off until it stops finally. Just so that it's not this weird like shake, 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 stop. It'd be much better if it's like shake, 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 stop. So the player. So that player didn't know to get closer until it shows the crosshair. Yes, and it's not unusual for that to be the case. Sometimes it's because people just... Let's see, SOS. Sometimes it's because they do not look at these two paintings really well. Usually people will see this one, and that's because I blatantly pasted it there. Like, it's pretty hard to miss that one. It's a little easier to change this one, or to to miss this one, admittedly, and that's because it's already. I mean, one, you have to look to the right when you're going to be going left, but also it's just a smaller thing, and some people just don't look over in this direction, even though they're usually like right about here and they should be able to see it. And it's also a vague concept, like cursor will change from dot to crosshair, but that's not necessarily an easy concept to grasp if you haven't really done a lot of cursor stuff in your lifetime. And like I said, doing things like typing open directly will have the E key be pressed, which will show the not close enough. Pretty much the only way that you can get stuck here is if you hit enter. But some people do that. And I don't really know what a good solution for that is. There is a tutorial about it. I do have these paintings. And most people seem fine with it. It's always just like one person per convention, it seems, that doesn't quite get it. And most people don't. Most people get that they're too far away because they'll usually like get to here, and if they pull this up and try this, then they'll kind of like look around, try to get closer, and eventually the cursor will fade in, and then they'll do it, and then it's fine. It's just that I have had one or two people in the past just kind of stare at it and not really try anything, and I'm not really sure what to do there. So it's maybe not the best. I also actually had, for the first time, it was a fairly young kid. They would pull up the input menu, but they wouldn't type anything. Or they would type stuff like take, but they wouldn't hit enter. They would just let it sit there. And, oh, that's probably not. Okay, that's fine then. They wouldn't hit enter. So I'm kind of wondering if maybe for the first level I should have like a little pop-up at the top that says press return to send text or something. But I'm not entirely sure. And that might just be a nice thing to have in general, right? If you press enter instead of it saying nothing up here, maybe it would say like press enter to do whatever. Similar now, it says press escape to close. Mostly I just didn't do that because I wanted it to not really have that everywhere, but it might not be a bad idea for the first level because it's still easing you into the mechanics. Something to think about. Hello, Joshua. Welcome back. How you doing tonight? So that's currently where we are. I think, the next thing we're going to do is the screen shake effect on the wizard cutscene here. So let's go ahead and go to timelines. Go to King or Wizard Escapes, I guess would be what this is. Let's go up to our timeline here. And we are going to have a screen shake effect. Okay, let's go ahead and open this up. And we're going to change this a little bit so that we have a curve we can evaluate along. Don't you have to press enter to start the game? You do. You do. But I never explicitly state it. So I don't really know what happened there. Because they also have to have gone through the new game prompts. So they would have had to have typed in there. And that's kind of why I have the new game prompts. So that it's very obvious that you're supposed to type and press enter. But I don't really know what to do if people get past that and then they kind of get stuck again. So it's... I'm not sure what to do there. I do think that having like press enter to submit text or whatever be displayed only in the castle level isn't that bad, because I do something similar with the text at the bottom of the screen where it says press escape to close. I think it shows just that message for as long as you're in the castle, but then as soon as you get past the castle, it starts showing things like press up to cycle inputs, or press right click to close, or whatever. Anywho, let's go ahead and drag this stuff out. I am going to close some of these things because I don't really need them. Oh, I should have left parser open. Oh well. Container verb input view. All right. So we're going to add a curve. Oh, interesting. Oh, right. Okay. That's what that is. Let's go ahead and add a serialized field, private animation curve, not culling type, curve, curve is equal to new. Actually, no, we'll say, I think it's animation curve dot linear. We'll go from 0f. You know what? Let's. Ugh, jeez, this is awkward. We'll go 0f, 1f, 1f, and 1f. So it's a straight line at the very top. Let's go ahead and tooltip that. Doing good. Playing RuneScape. That's a throwback. Why are you playing RuneScape again? Or I guess, did you just never stop playing? Curve the shake amount will be evaluated along. This might actually suck pretty hard, because, yep. Okay. Ugh. Because of course it is. Let's see. Go to start shake here. Maybe I can give this an animation curve to evaluate along. That probably wouldn't be a bad idea. Oof, it just, that sucks so hard. Okay. Let's see, find all references here. I guess we would go up to here. Yep, 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 yep. Active type, active range, active duration. That's all fine. All right, so we're going to add a curve for this. We'll say private animation curve, active curve is equal to animation curve dot linear 0f, 1f, 1f, 1f. Okay. And then we will say same thing pretty much. Let's just go ahead and copy that here. And then we will also go ahead and come down here and say animation curve, curve. I guess we'll call it shake curve. And then we'll say active curve is equal to shake curve. It pulls you in and never lets you leave. That's very true. Although, admittedly, I never really got into RuneScape. Although I did have a friend that was super into it, and by super into it, I meant he had tons of bots running, playing the game for him. And one day I asked him why he did that, and he just shrugged and said, "It's fun." I never understood that. Okay, so we're going to go to shaking, and this is where it's going to get a little weird. So shake timer is the entire duration that we're going to be doing that. But we probably want to change that, actually. So what we probably want to do here is say, instead of shake timer is equal to active duration, we're going to change that so that we have, we actually store that. Okay, never mind. So we're going to set that to be equal to 0f, and then we're going to say if shake timer is less than active duration, then we are going to say plus equals time.delta time divided by active duration. So that should let us have a value between 0 and 1 that we can use, and then we'll be able to actually use the shake timer as an evaluation parameter. So we are going to want to say get offset spherical times active range, which is, I believe, the shake range, right? Yes. Okay, so that means that this is going to go mathf.lerp from active range to 0f based on shake timer. Right? Yes, I'm pretty sure that's what I want. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, we're going to go back up here. We have our curve. Let's go ahead and grab our curve from this. Paste that in here. Make that public. Okay, and we are going to pass in our curve. And that's all we pretty much care about. Let's see, anything else? Nope, we're good there. So let's come back to here, and we're just going to say behavior dot curve is equal to curve. Okay. So now our screen shake effect should have the ability to evaluate along a curve, and it should also let us just kind of like taper off the effect of our screen shake so it doesn't go like full blast, then hard stop. We can get like full blast and then slow curve. So let's see this, and I guess make sure that it doesn't have any compilation errors. Okay, and we're going to clear this. Good, no errors. Let's come up here. So we're going to change this. For the most part, I think having a default linear line is fine. Let's go ahead and change this, though. We want this to actually be 0. Oof, that is. There we go. But we don't actually want this to be like that. We probably want it to be more like this. I think that's the line we want, kind of a reverse logarithmic curve. Let's go ahead and stop that, hit save, and let's see if that works. So what should happen logically is we start with a pretty intense range, and then it will slowly dip down until it's not really doing anything. Just so that we have a nice, pretty big screen shake, and then it tapers off. So let's see what that does. Running through here. I really should implement bunny hopping. Actually, a bunch of people at the convention were trying to like do bunny hopping. You could see them running around doing the like back and forth camera movements. But sadly, bunny hopping is not really a thing in this. So, although I did have one person say that she was super happy that I had jumping in the game, even though it's largely just because I wanted jumping in the game. And she basically word for word stated my exact feelings on what. Okay, let's see. Yeah, that worked. So it was very subtle, but it was nice to see the shake kind of taper off instead of having it just hard cut. So that worked. Cool. Yeah, like word for word, she stated my exact feelings on why games should allow you to jump, even if it's not at all necessary for the game. Because yeah, exactly. It's basically because if you can't jump. You know, the response for taking away the ability to jump, or I'm sorry, the defense of it is always well, you wouldn't run around jumping like an idiot in the streets, and my response to that is no, but I could. And that's the thing. If you're in a game that logically your character should be able to jump, then taking away their jump is just super weird. It makes it feel very strange. It makes it feel like you're stuck. Right? Exactly. And that's the thing. If someone says, well, you wouldn't, then you just say, well, why wouldn't I? Okay, so that's cool. We got the nice taper off effect there going. Pretty nice. Let's go ahead and move on to the next issue. Let's see. I fixed the problem with use. Moving. Oh, this is something I would like to do. If you run into the magic walls, you should probably like bounce back. It's a small thing, but I don't really want to do it on the stream tonight because I got to figure out how to do that. Let's see. A lot of add sound effects and outputs. Let's see. Game options. Oh, right. I forgot about this. I'm going to go ahead and play. So one of the things, I'm not entirely sure why this is happening, but if I go to options and gameplay, cancel is being covered up by something. I don't really know what. You can see like at the very top I can hit it, but it seems like now down here at the bottom something's covering it, and it might just be the. Well, actually, is it? You know what? It might just be the font or the label here. Let's check that. Let's go to our UI. View container. Options. Oh wait, no, not that. Game options. Root. Output label. Work with me here, Unity. Oh crap. Right. Well, that's a Text Mesh Pro thing, so that's going to take about 5 seconds, or 5 seconds, 5 minutes for it to initialize. So, anything interesting happen aside from people playing my game at ASUN? I had someone steal one of my granola bars in the middle of the night because the area we were in demoing our games was open 24/7 throughout the entire weekend, and someone took one of my granola bars without asking me, like just in the middle of the night while I wasn't there. But they left me a fake alien $100 bill type thing, and it was pretty awesome. It was just shoved under my keyboard, so I'm like, you know what? I'll take it. And yes, I was correct. It's because there's a label there. That should mean all I need to do is come down here and turn off raycast target. Okay, so now if I resume playing, I should be able to. Yep. Hooray! Well, that was nice and easy. That was a very nice and easy fix. Although I don't like that it's kind of like hidden like that. It's probably fine. Let's go ahead and close that. We got to go to the actual menu for that. Let's go to Game Options. Okay, let's go to our output label. Come back down here. Turn off raycast target. Hit save. And I guess while we're doing this, I should probably just check if any of my options menus do that. Entirely possible. This game uses raycasting. Well, I mean, it uses raycasting for all the physics stuff, like these checks are raycasts. All of this stuff in the menus is the graphic raycast system inside of UGUI. So it's a different thing. It's similar to raycasting, but it's like all based on graphic overlays. So let's go back to options. Anything from here? Nope, seems fine. Open 24 hours, like I did into the computer. Yeah, I mean, every night when I left, I take my laptop home with me because I run my demo off of my laptop at conventions as a way of basically showing people that this game will run on your laptop because my laptop's a MacBook, and if a MacBook can run this thing, then your laptop can run it. But every night when I went home, obviously I would take my laptop with me. So the most people could have stole from me was a like $150 monitor, which would have sucked, but not a terrible loss. And they would have had to have carried that out, past security. So I wasn't too concerned with people stealing stuff. Most people that go to conventions aren't the type to steal. As strange as it might sound, like people at conventions aren't really going to be the type of people that are going to be like, I want to take this thing because no one's watching me right now. I mean, maybe they would, but not for like small, terrible, like low-end hardware. They're not going to steal that. That's not going to be worth it. Also, speaking of the type of people that walk around, and I guess while I'm testing this stuff, I should just make sure that I don't have any overlap. I saw something that I didn't think existed in the physical world in meat space, and that would be so. God, I don't even know what it's called, but it's like a design for a hentai shirt that's just all of the O faces from a bunch of Doujins on a t-shirt. And there was a guy he had a sweater, pants, and shoes, all of which had those designs on it. So I thought, my response was like, wow, I didn't know that this existed in the real world. I knew it existed online, but I didn't know it existed in the real world. And I was kind of amazed. Okay, let's go to graphics. So that all works. We're not getting any problems there. Audio seemed fine. Game looks fine now. If we come down here, cool. Nothing's over that. Display, same thing. Benchmark is interesting. Oh, it's because it's disabled. Right. I think I disabled this in. Interesting. I'm like 90% sure that I did, but it doesn't actually seem to do anything. I'm pretty sure that I disabled the benchmark stuff for the demo, but I probably should grade that out. And that actually takes me to the next thing that I should do, which is I'm going to go ahead and quit out, go to the main menu, and I should when I have the demo compilation flag set up, I should probably disable continue and load, which I kind of do. So if you click on these, it'll say cannot continue in demo. Same with load, but you can still click on them and they highlight and they are white. Probably same thing with extras. Probably what I should do is I should just make them not interactable and then make them grayed out. That way people don't try to click on them and it's way more obvious. So let's go ahead and do that next. Oh, substances. I am not looking forward to the 2018 update. The inevitable 2018 update when I try to get everything working again. But that's probably not going to happen until after PopCon. So, 3 weeks. Let's see. We're going to go back to our main scene. Close this. Let's go to splash fade. And I guess actually we can probably do this without having to do that. Let's go to our view prefabs. We want our view main menu. Okay. Go ahead and go here. Cool. So what we want to do here is on open. We're going to want to do a compilation check. We're going to say if TQ demo else I think we want to go here. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'd like to wait a few months until all the assets I use update first. Yeah, that's smart. Yeah, and the other reason I'm holding off on is because TextMesh Pro is going to get rolled into 2018, and I am really terrified for that because that is going to cause all kinds of problems, I'm sure, for me. That's probably going to be like a week-long refactor to try and dredge everything up to standard, during which, obviously, I wouldn't be able to make progress. So I'm holding off on 2018 for a while, actually. I am messing with it for small, fun things. Like I opened it up last night for substance-related things just to see what the process is like for substances now. It's not terrible. Crashes a lot, but it's not terrible. And I actually ended up making a nice little drop-down thing so you could select substance keywords for your inputs. I plan on making a post about that on the algorithmic forums. Okay, sorry, I got distracted looking at my notebook. So what we want to do here is if this is the demo, then we are straight up going to basically just do this. And same thing with, oops, wrong thing. Sorry, actually it's going to be this. Let's copy that, paste that in there. We're going to copy this, paste this, and this is going to be our extras button. And then we're going to do the same thing, come down here and just say button component. Normally I wouldn't do this get component stuff, but it's just for the demo, so I'm not really that worried about caching it. We should be fine. And actually, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to say if extras button dot interactable. That way I only have to do it once because these will never ever ever be interactable inside the demo. So cool. Let's go ahead and let that compile. We'll run through. We currently have the TQ demo flag set, which is why this is highlighting and this stuff is not. And we'll see what that looks like. Trying to think of anything else 2018 related that I've really done recently. I really have just kind of avoided it for the time being. Mostly because I'm not really that confident that it's not just full of bugs. You don't miss your release date twice and then ship it with pretty quiet fanfare and have a not buggy release. So let's go ahead and save this. Start the scene. By the way, Garrett, how is your prototype coming? I don't think I've asked you about it in a while. Start here. Do I hear? Yeah, I hear the fire. Okay. Nice. So these are no longer interactable. Good. And if I type in extra or continue or load, cool. So that works. We probably want to do the same thing for benchmark. Oh, interesting. Oh, right. Benchmark just straight up is not going to work in the middle of the game. Isn't that right? Ah, right. But it does work in the demo currently, and it doesn't. Oh, well, no. I guess that's why I did it. I left it in because the demo itself, it does make sense for the benchmark to be in there. It doesn't make sense for the convention builds, but it does make sense for the demo proper. So I guess I'll leave that in, actually. Let's go back. Okay, so it's nice having these things be disabled, even though I obviously have save files. So complicated in all caps, too. I'm sorry, let me put on Brian Blessed. So complicated! Actually, I'm sorry, Brian Blessed. That was not loud enough. I would go louder, except it would like blow out my noise. And I don't have good acoustics in here. Keep trying to simplify the game, so I'll eventually ship it. So ditching ARM animations, for example. Good one, Cache Override. I like it. That's funny, ditching ARM animations, because I was actually considering actually adding animations to my game. So to show you what I mean. Currently, when you equip, we should take a look at that too. You might have noticed real quickly there were like 2 fade-in moments there. I think that's just because it's not quite doing the loading like it should. Anyway, so if I take this, if I hold on to my scepter, it just pops up. It might be good for it to have like a little raise animation, so it just looks like it's coming out from the bottom of the screen instead of popping into existence. But that's a thing I'm not really too concerned with. It's just a thing I thought of while I was watching people play. Oh yes, this will be a nice, easy, fun one. As I was watching someone play Sierra mode, I actually thought, whenever I show my game at conventions, and this is actually the first convention that I was not just constantly hovering around my booth. I was actually really confident just letting my game run. There were literally hour-long stretches that I wasn't even anywhere near my booth because I was confident in my build. And that was a very nice feeling, because I got to walk the show floor for like an hour and a half without any worries about the game crashing or doing anything. And when I came back, everything was fine, and I was super happy about that. But it would be cool if you could swing the staff like Minecraft animation. See, originally I was going to do that, but there's no real point to it. And this isn't like, the jump debate point. It's literally like I don't know what I would do with that. Because really, the things you equip are only really useful for either providing light in this situation for things like the lantern or for combat. But they have almost no use outside of a level or of combat. So I don't want to go too far down that path because then it's just extra work for no real reason. And I would have to basically let you hit everything in the game and do a sound effect and have a proper recoil, but it wouldn't do anything, so I don't want to do that because the point of the game is to interact with everything, not to hit it. This isn't Radiata Stories where you can just run around and kick literally every object in the game and have it shake. Although that was pretty fun. So one of the things that I was not messing around with, but an idea that I had while I was watching someone play, was, hold on, let me see if I can do this real quick. So in Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, there is a hard mode that's called Hero Mode, I believe. And what Hero Mode does is, I mean, it changes gameplay up a little bit, making it harder. But the way you can tell if someone's in Hero Mode is this little icon down here at the bottom left of the screen. So normal mode doesn't have this little Triforce icon, but Hero Mode does. And I'm assuming that's just so that you are fully aware that you're in Hero Mode. And I kind of want to do something like that, actually. So if you're playing Sierra Mode, I would like it to have just this little like S maybe at the bottom left to let you know that you are playing Sierra Mode. It's a small thing, and part of the reason that I want to do that is when I'm at conventions, if I'm not looking at my booth and someone starts playing a game, there's always this little fear I have in the background of my brain that says, "Oh no, they've started playing Sierra Mode, and I wasn't there to tell them that it's not going to be fun." So I want to be able to easily glance at people playing the game and see like this little S at the bottom of the screen and know, oh, you're in Sierra mode, or oh, you're in normal mode. So I would like to have this little icon. It'll probably just be a red S, honestly, and it'll be similar size, like not really that big, partially transparent. It's mostly just so that it's a visual indicator that you're in Sierra mode. Also, my man, you're like the first person I've talked to that actually knows what Roddy Auto Stories was. It was criminally underrated. I can understand why some people didn't like it, but having a super cool, like, you gotta hunt down 150 plus characters to recruit, and all the cool combat systems. The linking system was super awesome. I loved it. Also, it has one of my favorite villain types, which is just a wonderful JRPG tradition. Um, okay, so we're gonna do that because I wanna have that little icon like that, and that's gonna go on our HUD probably. So let's go to View HUD. Go up to here. Let's open up our HUD view. All right. I am going to add effect background. Let's go ahead and add a public image. We'll say Sierra indicator. Or how about Sierra icon? That's good. Also, I should probably make these private because they're not really being used outside of this. So let's go ahead and serialize these fields. Do everything the correct way. Let's see. Serialize. Cool. Okay. And once again, I'm regretting not turning on the AC before I started a stream because it gets super warm in here. Okay. Let's go ahead and check all this. Find all references. Good. Make this private. I think all of these are going to be private for the most part. I'm like 80% sure that nothing is using these public variables. But I will find out. Okay, let's go ahead and let that compile. And then we'll know for a fact. So if you're reducing scope on your game, Garrett, what are you currently looking at in terms of gameplay, or what feature are you currently working on, I guess? Okay, let that... Oh, there it is. So we do have the reticle being accessed. Okay. Hmm. Unfortunate. If we make that public. Okay, so the reticle might be the only public thing I need to worry about. I can easily add a getter to that, if that's the case. Compile Unity. Well, one of these days. I have a Trello loaded with features. Right now I'm doing ranged combat and creature AI for ranged attacks. So, like, the creature AI for initiating ranged attacks to attack the player, or creature AI for handling ranged attacks from the player? Or I guess both. I think those are two distinct systems that are just related. Um, okay, so yeah, I'm going to go ahead and make that still be serialized and private with a public getter. So we'll come down here, public image reticle, yeah, return reticle. Okay, let's copy this, go to here. Okay. Okay. Nice. Let that compile real quick. While that's happening, let's go over here to our HUD view again. And I am pretty much just going to enable or disable this image for the Sierra icon if I open and I'm in Sierra mode. So I'm just going to go ahead and say if session.difficulty is equal to Sierra, we will say and Sierra icon dot enabled. Sorry, not Sierra icon dot enabled. And I will say Sierra icon dot enabled to true. I wonder if I. No, it's probably fine. I just wonder if it would be better for me to make it a game object, actually, because I don't really need to enable the. I don't know if enabling it is better or worse than enabling the game object. I don't think it matters really. Because I don't think I think in either case, if the component or the game object is disabled, the geometry shouldn't be rebuilt. So it should be fine just to disable the actual behavior. We're going to go ahead and say else if pretty much the opposite is equal to normal, and Sierra mode icon is enabled. We're going to do the opposite. It's equal to false. Okay. Have melee AI ready, expanding it for ranged. And I guess while that's doing, I should let that compile. So how far you chase the player, where you aim. I did instant fire stuff last night doing projectiles today. Okay. Why would you waste your time with projectiles, man? Clearly you should just use hit scan weapons. Just give all of your monsters AK-47s and it'll be perfect. Do the old school Doom Marine style. Took a chicken and made it into a fire chicken that instacasts fire spell at the player's feet. Okay, nice. So it's an AoE fire explosion, basically. Oh, man. I swear, every time I play a game with chickens in it, I just get flashbacks to Zelda's Cuckoos. And I feel like a lot of other developers too, because usually chickens are like the one of the hardest things to kill in games. It seems either they're just normal and boring, or they're like way over the top. They'll kill you in one hit if you anger them. Um, it doesn't seem like there's really any in between there. Okay, so let's go ahead and turn on our UI. Let's grab our HUD. Oh no! I hate it when I do that. Well, crap. I accidentally clicked while I was dragging stuff around. Great, 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 great. Who even knows where that came from? Great. I don't know where that was from. Skyboxes. Ah, jeez. Test maybe. Okay, can't put it there, or you're just being annoying. Where did you come from? Dang it, I should have looked it over to my left to see where it came from before I started moving it around. Oh well. I think it's more fun for the player to dodge scary balls of death. No, that's definitely true. Like you should have projectiles. Hit scan sucks. Hit scan is what you use when you want to annoy the player, not when you want to let them have fun. Um, Jeez, where did you go? Where did you come from even? Why are you here? What is this crap? Okay, there. Jeez. Okay. Now let's go back to the HUD because this is what I meant to grab and drag out to here. Here's our root. Okay. So we're just going to go ahead and create. Oh, you know what? Yeah, it's just going to be a game object. That way I can just make it a label, not an image, because I'm going to have to make a text or an image that's just the letter S, and that's dumb. So let's change this. We'll change this to a game object. Go up to here. I guess I would probably want to put that here. Okay, we'll change this to active self. You're not going to do it. Right. We got to say set active. But we'll copy this, paste it here. We'll say set active true. And then set active false. Cool. So that should do the same thing. Let's let that compile. Fable's chicken chaser. I have an idea for catching a fire chicken and tying it to a magic staff to make a fire chicken on a stick magic weapon. I actually had someone at the convention this week suggest that I just let random objects be combinable. So you could like pull a fish onto your staff and just have a fish staff, even though it would do nothing. And I kind of laughed because the idea itself was funny, but good God, the amount of extra work it would take to do all of that would be a nightmare. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and add. Probably I can just put it right here. Let's just make a new text mesh pro object. We'll have this be the correct 8-bit font. Okay, we're just going to have it say S. Have those be centered. Have this be at the bottom left. Pivot of 0 and 0. Position of width of probably, okay, that's a little too low. Let's go ahead and make this as wide as we can. 25, I'm guessing? Yeah, that's good. Height of probably 40, 25 is probably actually good. It's a little too small. Okay. Let's make it 30 by 30. Yeah, that's better. Okay, and we'll give it a position of, I'm going to say 25 and 25. That seems to be pretty good. Let's make it red for Sierra. And actually, that is a good point. I probably don't want it to be too red. I think the Legend of Zelda one is pretty neutral color. I think it's actually like a slightly yellow color. And I probably don't want something that's too distracting, so I don't know what would be a good thing to do here. Yeah, it's a game in itself. Yeah. I looked at the animations and everything and how they are intentionally bad, and that made me think if I can do something well, or if I can't do something well, do it wrong intentionally. Yeah, I actually had a conversation with someone about that too, about basically owning your style. If you can't, if you're not comfortable doing the like super realistic stuff, which obviously like I'm not either, then find a style that works really well for what you're doing, and then just own it. Um, so I don't know what would be good here. I don't want it to just be white. Um, could you? Let's go ahead and have it be a little s like that. Let's make it just red with maybe an opacity. Don't need to do any of that. And we'll give it an opacity of like 80%-ish. Okay, let's rename this. The only downside to this is that it's TextMesh Pro, and TextMesh Pro is pretty intense when it's enabled or disabled. But I guess it wouldn't be doing it all the time. So we'll go ahead and say Sierra icon. Okay, drag that in. Let's go ahead and hit apply there. And I suppose I should just make it be disabled by default, actually. Okay, so let's go ahead and disable our UI. We'll run through, start normal mode, see if that looks right, and then once we do that, we'll quit out, start Sierra mode, see if that looks right. Do you have an animation style in mind? Because I don't think that everything would necessarily work. Everything really only can work the way it does because it's not first person. Although maybe there is first person stuff in there. I actually haven't played the game. I just have seen videos of it. But it always seems to be third person. We'll go normal. Oh, sorry. Chris. Yes, normal, right. Yes. Okay. Okay, oh, and that's going to be our next thing, is that double fade in, because I don't like that. So it looks like everything's going well. Shoot, I did forget that our labels are at the bottom left. I knew I had something down there, so that's probably not going to be great. Let's go ahead and click through here. Start, new, Chris, yes, Sierra, continue, right, will be red, yes. Hello. You did not do anything. And I'm guessing... Interesting. Interesting. Let's make sure that this is being called, I guess. Okay. I'm starting with realistic fantasy RPG stuff like Skyrim, but man, it's hard. So where I'm falling short, I'm considering making it obviously video gamey. Monty Python silly. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like... I guess first-person animations are kind of tough to work within anyway. Because honestly, the only real like cartoony animations that I've seen in first person that I really liked were like were joke reload animations for some FPSs, like uh, the 1 in 10,000 chance of getting a special reload animation, and those ones work pretty well. But let's go. This Chris, yes. Oh, sorry, Sierra, yes. Okay, let's try this again. Interesting. I don't think it's getting called. Wait, what? What's happening here? Why are you off? Hmm. HUD root. Wait, you're on and you're just not being rendered? Well, that's not great. Oh, not like Monty Python's animation. No, I meant, yeah. Yeah, I assume you meant like Ministry of Silly Walks, not Terry Gilliam's animations. Interesting. So it's enabled. What the what the what happened? Why are you way off in the distance? Hmm. Yeah. So having that S there is fine, although I'm not entirely convinced I like the red part of it. It might be good to have it be even further. Well, let's do this. Ah, there. Okay, we're gonna try adjusting this. Hmm. Probably a little bit better. It's honestly not much of a change. I just want it to be not super distracting or anything. Yeah, that works. Okay. So what was going on with its positioning? Let's try pulling the HUD back in. Whoa. Huh. What the heck? Okay. Let's try this again. I don't really know what happened there. It's like it just got messed up. Huh. Okay, maybe it was just a weird prefab problem. Let's try this again. Exactly. I have a problem right now where you can run on top of the mobs. You could do table hopping. That's a cool thing. It'd probably be really hard to do in first person, but games like Devil May Cry have this mechanic that I call it table hopping because that's what it's called in Devil May Cry. It might have a different name in general, but that's basically when you jump right when you're on top of an enemy, and you kind of use them like springboards, similar to in like TV shows when someone's running over a crowd, they like stick their you get the gag shot of like someone looking up and then a foot just coming down and stomping on their face while they're running along the tops of crowds. It's basically that. Um, and it's actually pretty amusing, and it's usually difficult to pull off. But then you can reward players that are skilled enough to do it by letting them, I don't know, reach uh, difficult to reach treasure areas, like hide a chest on a wall somewhere that they can't get without it. Let's go to new game. Sierra. Yes, right. Everything's all thrown off. Okay, so there's that, and then we do have that problem. Right. I could move it to the top left. That probably would be fine. I don't really use the top left. Oh, wait, no, I do, because I use it for that. Crap! Then that leaves me with just the top right. I can't, so... let's go ahead and quit out. Start. We're going to go to new game. We'll do Sierra mode. Yes, and I'm going to do left-handed. Yellow. Yes. Yes. I don't remember if I actually implemented this. I did not. Okay. So one of the things that I know I need... Oh, crap. Right. Right. Well, let's trigger this cutscene real quick. One of the things that I've talked about implementing in the past that I haven't done yet is when you are left-handed, I should probably have information be displayed on the right side of the screen rather than the left, because your carried item can get in the way of the labels that pop up showing like what room you're in. Trampoline mobs lured them to a spot and jumped down on them to get over an obstacle. That's also a good idea. Just enemies that in general you can bounce on. Um, so to show you what I mean, not trampoline mobs, but okay. So scepter right there is over the left. So when I go in here, you can see that it's kind of blocking. Oh, it also looks like it's jittering actually, which is not great. It's like very subtle, but it's happening. But you can see that it covers up labels on the left on the left because that's where I show everything. So I need to basically change those labels so that they are on the right when you are left-handed. It's a very small thing, and we'll probably do that next, which probably means that I would change the side of the screen the S is on to match the opposite side of that, and then I would be fine, I think. So let's do that. Okay. Okay, that just makes things way more complicated. But, you know, what are you going to do? Okay, so we're going to drag this into here. Turn on our Sierra icon. And what the heck are you doing? It just jumped again. Let's revert you. Let's revert you again. Oh my goodness, what the heck? It's like something's positioning it. Huh. Okay, that's curious. Well, I don't know what's going on there. That's super weird to me. Huh. Well, either way, let's go over here to status label. Oh, sorry, not status label. Info text. I believe that's what I want, right? Yes. Hit F. Okay, like why am I 10,000 units away from it for some stupid reason? All right. So we're probably going to actually do a couple of things. I am I really don't want to bounce things around like that. So I know how I can adjust the info text pretty easily. It's the Sierra icon that I'm having problems with. Info text, all I would really need to do is change its alignment from left align to right align, depending on what your handedness is. That's an easy get. But the Sierra icon is a game object, and it's apparently in the wrong spot all the time, which is super weird. Let's go back here, and I don't really know what to do with it. I do know I need to make you like slightly more transparent. So I could have two Sierra icons, or preferably, I would just move this one, but it's too risky. Like I don't really. No, it's just going to be easier to have two separate icons that I turn on or off. That kind of sucks, but what are you going to do? Fine. Go ahead and duplicate this. We're going to make the anchor position basically be the opposite side. So negative 25 by positive 25. Okay. And then I'll basically just turn them on or off based on what your handedness is. Okay. Let's go ahead and go back to our script here. Cool. And now we're going to say on open. We can get rid of this. We're going to say if session dot handedness, or I guess right-handed. Okay, then we're going to say, what is it? Output text. Info label, I'm pretty sure. Yes, info label. Info label dot alignment is equal to, we want left. Oh, crap, that's going to, of course, move both of them. So I want it to be left and bottom if you're right-handed. So that would be baseline, or ooh, crap, baseline left or bottom left? I think it's bottom left. Okay. Otherwise, we're going to set it to be bottom right. Right. And then, no winning that, is there? All right, let's go ahead and change this to Sierra icon left. Let's go ahead and copy this, paste this in, Sierra icon right. Let's tooltip these. Tooltip icon shown when the player is left, is right-handed and playing Sierra mode. Paste this. Player is left-handed. So if you're left-handed, you will have Sierra mode on the left, and if you're right-handed, you will have Sierra mode on the right. Sorry, if you're right-handed, you'll have it on the right. Okay. And then we'll need to come down here. Yeah, where did I go? It's up here. Okay. And we're not... yeah. Blah. Okay. So I guess I'm going to roll this into this chunk of the function. It is somewhat duplicate code, but it's not quite the same. So this is going to be right. Let's go ahead and duplicate this. Duplicate that. Paste this in. Make this false. False across the board for that one. Let's go ahead and duplicate this. Put it into here. Delete this. Okay, and we'll make this left. Left. Make this true, and this one false. All right. So now I should have appropriate alignment for labels as well as for Sierra's icon. So we'll let that compile. We will turn off our Sierra icons. We'll assign them so they are appropriate. And then we will try this again. Make sure it looks right. Let's see. While that's compiling, do I have anything else? I have 8 pages, so surely I should have something. We might look at go down ladder next. That doesn't work, and I know that's not worked for a while. Let's see. Oh yeah, custom icons for key commands. Currently, the way I show key commands is just square bracket the key that you're supposed to press and then square bracket. It might be good for us to have keys, like sprites that I can just do inline sprites for. But that's probably not something we'll do tonight. Something in converting. Oh, no, that's something else. I fixed that. Some verb habits will probably format. Okay, that's something else entirely. I fixed that as well. Stuff. Oh yeah, that's a old thing. I don't have to worry about that now. Scale should imply up direction. That's a dictionary thing. Nothing I can really do for that. Sewer slabs using ASCII art. That's probably else I can do on the Devstream tonight. Um, Priorities for the trolls conversation should probably be a little different. We could probably fix that. That wouldn't be too bad. New combat. Right. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So this is something I was thinking about while I was just kind of standing around watching people play. With the new combat system, I wasn't sure how to implement critical hits. What I was planning on doing for it was just similar to how I'm handling it now, where if you get double a certain, or if you get double a certain value, then you would just get a critical. That doesn't really make sense anymore because there's no real value for you to compete against. So what I'll probably do is have the risky path choices will guarantee a critical hit if you get to the end of it, which will just add 1 point of damage. And then if you get a perfect on top of that, that will add another point of damage. So if you take every risky path you take, will give you +1 to your damage that you do, and there's only one perfect at the very end. We'll add one as well. So in the troll combat, it's possible that you could actually end the troll fight at full health. With the troll at full health in 2 turns, if you take the risks, because it would let you do 3 damage each. But if you take the conservative, non-risky route, then you would only be able to do at max 2 damage, and therefore you would need 3 turns. So let's go ahead and do a new game. Chris, yes. Normal. Oh, sorry, not normal. We'll do Sierra. Yes, I'm also going to be left-handed. I will be red, and yes. And yes. Okay. Nice. There is our castle. Entrance hall on the right. Is that bad user experience? Most information is conveyed on the left because we read left to right. I'm a little worried that actually might not be okay in this case. But at the same time, if it's going to be obscured by your holding objects on the left side of the screen, then it might be better this way anyway. It's hard to say. I'm also not left-handed, so I don't know if there are slightly different comfort settings for handedness. Most of the time, it's not like their text is different. It's just a weird thing with this game specifically. So let's let this go. Once I get the scepter, I'll be able to double check all that. Okay. Let's go ahead and say open take. Hold staff. Equip scepter. Let's run around. The drawing room. The throne room. Seems pretty good. It looks a little close to the edge, but that could just be me. And yeah, I mean, at the very least, it's not being obscured anymore, so I like that. It is super weird, though, having now I have that, so you'd have to look at the top left to see what your state is, and the bottom right to see what room you're in. I am not digging that. Because it means that your eyes have to traverse the gamut of your screen basically to see all of that. It's really weird. Well, let's go ahead and quit out. See what it looks like when you're right-handed. Okay. So we get that. It does look like we have some extra padding on the left, but that could just be because I'm not used to seeing things on the right. S icon at the far right, not really a bad thing. You can largely ignore it for the most part. It's fine. Let's see what things look like once we start going between the scenes, or between the rooms. I also think I need to tweak the screen shake a little bit now that the curve is happening. I think it stops a little too soon or it becomes too subtle. Maybe not. Take, hold staff. Okay. Yep, not bad. I don't know. Is the S too distracting? It doesn't really seem that bad. It's small enough that it's not really much of a problem. I don't think. And it's a nice visual indicator that you know you're in Sierra mode. Of course, the downside to that is that you'll always just have an S on the screen. The nice thing about having iconography like a Triforce in Legend of Zelda is that it's not really much of an aesthetic break. But now you straight up in Sierra mode can't take like screenshots really without having that S be there. But I don't think that's really much of a concern. Yeah, I think it looks fine. I think switching the sides that things are shown on is a good idea. I will double check the label here. So info text, are you set to be equidistant from the sides? You are. I might give it like an extra 5 from the right, just to give it a little further distance from the right, because it seems to me it looks like it bleeds a little bit too much to the edge. So I think having that extra 5 units will help a lot. Reduce the alpha on the labels for the Sierra mode stuff. I was thinking about that. It's already at about 150, which is just barely over half opacity. Because I don't want it to be super transparent. I could maybe darken it. I don't know. Because I want it to be like a nice, obvious thing. But at the same time, I also want it to not be so obvious that it draws your attention. And that's a super weird. I was going to say hypocritical. That's not great. Conundrum to be in. Let's see. A lot of words that I have in my notebook. Not a lot of extra features. You have some parser stuff that I need to fix, but I don't really know if I want to do that tonight. I think I'll reduce the alpha for the substance Sierra stuff to 125, and we'll see what that does. Because I don't want it to be so transparent that you can reliably see things through it. I'd like it to be pretty opaque. God, it's just I can't decide, I guess. Because I'm like, I want it to be opaque, but also transparent. I want it to be obvious, but not too obvious. Ugh. I sound like a client. Let's see. What's up? Changing look output. Pointing out sewer ASCII art. Oh, right. ASCII art for the hint keeper. Would I really want that? That seems like a bit much. Go ahead and do new game. Chris, yes. Sierra. Yes, I will be left-handed because I want to see if it looks right. I will be orange, and yes, and yes. Oh, yes, we need to fix that double fade. That's what we can do next. And yes, I think that having 15 instead of 10 feels a little bit better there. And I also think that 125 feels a lot better on the alpha. So, yeah, well, Mainly it's for things like this. Like, I don't like having it be transparent there. Let's turn off maximize on play so I can just adjust these things on the fly. Okay, so let's see what it looks like. HUD, root, left. So we're going to crank this alpha. So that's 150-ish. That's 100. If we go to 200. I actually think I should increase its opacity a little bit. I kind of like having it be that at around 200. Because at 100, at between 150 and 100, it seems too transparent that you can't see it if you're looking at a bright surface. So I kind of want to just have it be at 200%, I think, or 200. So let's do that. 200. Come back up to here. 200. Save that. All right, so now let's figure out why we're getting a double fade in when we load in. I thought that was just an editor only error, but then it happened in the builds. So I don't really know what's happening there. It has to have fade in called twice or something. Excuse me. Turn on maximize on play. Start. Oh yes, one of the other things that I noticed in the build is that when we fade in after quitting out to the main menu, that level fade in you just saw doesn't fade in a second time. It just like hard cuts from full alpha or from full alpha to 0 alpha, and I don't know why it does that. Let's do a new game. The fade out is still fine. It's just that when it fades in, it's broken. Let's go to yes. We'll do Sierra mode. Yes. I am right-handed. Favorite color will be green. And yes and yes. Oh, shoot. Dang it. I was not paying attention. I was going to pause it when I started the fade in so that I could just kind of like skip or go frame by frame to see what it's doing. My assumption is that the open or the fade in is getting called twice. But I would like to confirm that. So let's go to new. Chris, yes. Sierra, yes. Right. Green, yes. And yes. Okay. Let's take a look at this. Loading container. And I think what we want to do is actually, well, no, that doesn't make sense. What do I fill in here? Minigame area. Is it that? Is that why I'm doing that? That seems odd. So we're going to fade that in. Okay, so now it's gone, and something else is opaque. Do I have anything else going on here? HUD, but it's not actually doing anything. Okay, and if we set you, you're at 0. Is it just this? Okay, so it's the what? But nothing's even referencing you, so why are you solid all of a sudden? Okay, so let's take a look at our loading screen. Loading. Interesting. Maybe I set something on the root? No. Interesting. Let's look for alpha. Okay. UI.loading canvas group. alpha. Interesting. Perhaps that's why. I'm setting the canvas group alpha. Worth a shot, I guess. Let's take a look at that. We'll do new game, Chris, yes, Sierra, yes, right-handed, green, yes, yes. Okay, let's take a look at this. So under our loading canvas, we are at that, and we also have the minigame area canvas. Okay, so let's take a look at this. Yes, something is totally fading it back in. Okay, something must be calling it twice. Find all references. Let's put in a stack trace here, I guess. Okay, let that compile. Well, let's see. Anything else exciting happen at ASEN while I'm waiting for this to compile? Had a few people interview me for my game, but they were interviewing everyone at the indie game party. We did have a digital magazine that was showing off all the indie games, and I actually laid it out, which is why it's terrible. And I learned some very useful things about, well, a couple of things. One, I learned I hate InDesign. I really don't like Adobe InDesign. It's quite terrible. But also, I learned that I really should go with my gut intuition whenever I think this probably won't look right. Because, good God, some of the things I did were not the best. Never put, by the way, dark images on black backgrounds. Because, shockingly enough, they don't turn out quite right. Well, they turn out fine. It's just that they're not very visually distinct, so they don't pop very well. Also, despite how cool the fog looks in the the woods level, I really shouldn't use screenshots for that in print because they're not very. They're pretty low saturation value, so they're kind of a darker tint, and that means that they don't really print that well. Everything kind of blends together pretty horribly. So let's go ahead and do this. Yes, normal. This will be normal because we don't really care. Okay, we got two fade outs that happened there. Please tell me we got two. Yes, we did. From the same place. Okay. So loading screen minigame 64 gets called twice then? Alright. I'm into it. Find all references. I think it's going to be here. Go to definition. 64. And callback. Not equal null. Oh. Are you getting called multiple times? No. Not really. Perhaps I should do this, though. Okay. Because I kind of wonder references if this is just getting called multiple times. Doesn't seem right, but Well, let's find out. Let that compile. It could just be that it wasn't getting cleaned up properly, and therefore it was getting called twice, maybe? I do not know. Hmm. Stretch. Not good to sit at your desk for 2 hours and not actually stretch your tendons. Clear out. Let's go ahead and try this again. If that doesn't work, then it means that I'm passing in that thing twice, and that means that it's getting called twice, which is not great. Let's go to game. Oh, that seemed fine. I think it did it. Yay! Cool. So that worked. Nice. Do they have a tendency to get stiff? What, my tendons? I mean, it depends on which tendons you're talking about. I tend to be pretty inflexible below the waist, like leg tendons, but upper body and arm tendons, I can pretty much rotate my spine 180 degrees and be fine. But it's always just a good idea for you to stretch out your fingers whenever you work at a computer for a long time per day. It's good for you to just do some finger stretches to keep your tendons limber and help fight carpal tunnel and all that. So okay, so that fixed that issue. I will play it again just to be sure. Make sure it wasn't a fluke. All right. Ah, I get it. Tendon. Sorry. The spelling is different, so it didn't quite work. I get what you're going for now, though. I was not smart enough to catch it. um. Oh, man. Ugh, man. Yawning, too. I still haven't caught up sleep-wise from ASEN. I think I was running like 5-hour nights of sleep-ish on average. And that was at an Airbnb with admittedly not the comfortablest, or the most comfortable. Dang it, I wasn't paying attention. With admittedly not the most comfortable bed, but it was super cheap. So, oh yes, and also I hate toll roads. By the way, I hadn't really done northern toll roads before. I had done southern toll roads like in Texas before, but those were really nice and easy because you basically pay a toll once, and then you just go for miles and miles and miles and never pay another toll. But in Chicago, good God, you pay a toll, then like 5 minutes later you pay another toll, and 5 minutes later you pay another toll. It's really dumb, and the toll roads aren't that good. They're not. They still have potholes. So why am I paying for a toll road? That's stupid. Whatever. Sorry, I just really hate toll roads. Go ahead and make sure that this works in Sierra mode as well. Yes, yes. Okay, I'm paying attention, and there we are. There's our fade in. It really did take a toll on me, but but cool. So that works. And I mean, the other thing about toll roads is that they don't save you a lot of time. At least not in the Chicago area. It was like 10 extra minutes for me to go around them, and that's not really a lot. So, okay, so we have pretty much all of the very visual, quick ones done, I think. There are quite a few other things that are parser related or art related, but I don't think we want to do those tonight. So we might call it a little early tonight. I'm still, like I said, I'm still kind of recovering from ASEN, so I'm a little logy and lethargic still. Um, Although my feet no longer kill me. uh, I will certainly say that walking around for 3 days is always tough on you. Let's see. Is there anything else I can do real quick? Not really. All right. I think that's probably a good place to end for the night. So we got a couple of things in. We now have a icon for Sierra mode at the bottom right of the screen if you're right-handed, or the bottom left of the screen if you're left-handed. And let's go ahead and actually let's do this. Let me get some screenshots. And we also have the screen shake effect tapering off, so it can be driven by a curve. And we also have, what else did we do? We did a couple of things. Let's see. Oh yeah, we fixed the input not being auto-selected whenever you're in a menu. So now that shouldn't be much of an issue for players to accidentally deselect, because it'll just reselect the field. So yeah, a lot of small usability things, I think, that will make the game a little more pleasant to play. And then just a couple of things, I think, to help enhance the overall experience in things like Sierra mode and if you're left-handed. Don't they like auto toll road these days? So that's the thing. No and yes. So they will, if you don't pay cash, they'll get your license plate and send you a bill. But the problem is that the system they use is pretty terrible, and it's possible that you won't get the bill until the first deadline has passed, in which case the price doubles. So it's possible that a toll road that's like, $2 will take a picture of your license plate, get all the mail sent out like 2 weeks later, which is after the first deadline for paying the toll, and then you have to pay twice that because they didn't get their stuff in order in time to send it to you. So it's not really reliable to do that, and it sucks because it's cash only, apparently. Otherwise, because this is 1955 when credit cards don't exist, there was actually straight up one toll road that was just coins. It wasn't even bills. It was coins. I barely had the coins to get through it. And at that point, I would have just been like, well, I don't know what to do. So yeah, toll roads just suck. They're the worst. But yeah, so we got a couple of things. We got screen shake effect working a little nicely, tapering off there instead of just cold stopping, or hard cutting, whatever, stopping suddenly. We have a Sierra mode icon to display whenever you are actually playing a save file with Sierra mode enabled. We have the environment description showing up on the right if you are left-handed, so that your item that you're carrying does not get in the way. And then, of course, we have a bunch of other things that just make life easier, like selecting or auto-selecting the input field so that you don't accidentally deselect it, and then fixing some option menu stuff. So I think that's a good place to stop for the night. Announcements. Nothing really, just that I'm back. The next convention I'll be going to is Indie PopCon, and that is June 7th. So that's about 3 weeks away. I'm going to try to get the new combat system done and in for that, because I was hoping to have it done by ASEN, but it was nowhere near finished enough for that. So I would like to have it done by PopCon so I can test it out there and see how people react to the new system, because PopCon, I think, has the highest concentration of people that have played the game before and remember it, so they'll be able to offer feedback most likely. So I think we're going to go ahead and call it a night. So as always, I want to thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you all next time.